Hey there! Today we're going to talk about a pen that's been anticipated for quite a while. It took a while to get me one, but I have it now. And today we'll be talking about a pen by this brand, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is a pen by TWSBI. Don't see anything yet. Take this out. There's a little booklet. The booklet shows you how to do some stuff. Fill up the pen. Pretty nice. Actually, I mean, multi-color thing, I enjoy that. It's simple, but it's effective. And that's, I think, the device for this whole brand. You know, that's what they do. The TWSBI Mini! There we go. This is an interesting box. It's nothing we haven't seen before, right? The 540 came in this box, and the VAC 700 came in this box, and now the Mini comes in this box, and it's a pretty cool box. I wouldn't mind seeing a revolutionary new box, but it definitely does, you know, serves its purpose, and I think it's quite cool that the pen is sort of suspended in this, like it's Han Solo in carbonite or something. It's just in there, and it doesn't move. That's pretty cool. You open it up. There's some tape on one side, which is actually quite nice. You open it up, and the pen is kept in place by these two little things, which you can pull out. Be a little careful. That's the pen, but the fun doesn't stop there, because in this thing, which holds the pen, you will find the TWSBI wrench to take your pen apart, and a small bottle of fairly liquid silicone grease to grease the piston seal, which I think is undeniably cool that you get this stuff to take your pen apart. Eat your heart out, Mont Blanc, where you have to send the pens back to even have them opened up and you know, maintained. With this stuff you can do it yourself, and you get it for free with the pen. No special orders, no stuff, just you get it. Okay. The Mini. The Mini is basically a small pen. It's really not large. It looks like the Diamond 540, but it's much smaller. Hence the apt name Mini. It has a few very cool features. You can get them in a bunch of finishes, a completely clear demonstrator version. I got the classic version because I thought that was quite cool. Black, transparent, black. I thought this was a nice mix. I'll talk about the parts of the pen, tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and then I'll do a writing sample. Okay, let's start with the cap. On top of the cap is this TWSBI logo, which I can't really show you because my camera doesn't focus, but it's a bit larger on the box. That's what it is. I think I talk about that logo in the Diamond 540 review. Then we have the clip. I kind of enjoy this clip design. I think it's pretty neat. Flexy enough to be useful. With some pens it's really tight, but with this one it works well. You have the center band. It says TWSBI on one side. I'm sure you can't really see that, but believe me, it's there in a sort of powdered steel lettering, which I like. The center band is highly reflective, and the powdered steel is not. And it says Mini. There was a long discussion about which font they should use, and in the end they used this, and I think it looks fine. I have to tell you, I don't really care a whole lot about this type of detail. Now, it says Mini, and below that it says Taiwan, which is where the pens are made. Then you have the Faceted Barrel, which is very difficult to show you. In some of the light reflections in this bit, you can see that there are facets, which I think are quite cool. I like that on the 540, and I'm loving it on the Mini now. We have a piston turning knob, because it is a piston filler. So if those of you not familiar with the system, it means you dip the pen in an inkwell, you twist this bit, and the piston moves down, and then you twist it the other way around, and it draws up ink. Okay, there is a little rubber, I'm assuming it was rubber, maybe I'm wrong there, but it seems to be an O-ring, and there are threads near the end of the piston turning knob. Why? Well, obviously so that you can post the pen securely. You can just screw the cap in place, and that way you end up with a normal, decently sized pen. Without posting, I can use it for a few quick notes, but it's too small. The pen will disappear in my hand at some point, and then I cannot write with it anymore. So it's useful that we have this feature. I'm always a little partial to pens that have this screw-in feature at the back. And the reason for that being that it's very secure, right? I mean, the cap cannot fly off, be pushed off, and knocked off during your writing. It will be there quite securely. Okay. Because this is a demonstrator, you can sort of see the piston mechanism. I'm afraid I have a fairly dark ink in there, so you can't see it very well, but believe me, it's there. Obviously, in the future, I'll have to do a shootout between the 540 and this one, and maybe the 540 VAC 700 and this one, and I'll show you how to take them apart, but not today. Here we have the section, black, plastic, a little lip of, I don't know, some type of chrome material. The beauty of these pens, hence the wrench, that you can take them apart. You need that for the piston assembly unit, but you can just unscrew the section, which is great. We have a little rubber O-ring there, right next to these threads. I'm assuming they're there to keep the cap in place, and maybe to prevent over tightening. I'm not sure, but it's there. Okay, the nib. The nib says TWSBI. It says B for broad. It again has a TWSBI logo and a little bit of scroll work. Now, I got a broad nib, but this pen was ordered for me by Dan from FB Geeks, and he does nib customizations, and he was kind enough to turn this into a stub nib for me. Now, if you're interested in him modifying one of your nibs, I can tell you, based on this one example, he does an excellent job. His website is Dan's a Man. It's displayed there below. You can contact him there if you want, and if you don't, then you don't have to. But he does some pretty nice work with nibs, I think. Okay, so what can I say about that nib? Well, I guess the only thing I can say is this. It really works. It's turned this nib, which would have been a broad with TWSBI, I think being a somewhat fat medium on some Western pens, into a much more expressive nib. It offers a decent bit of line variation now, which is very nice, and a lot of fun. It's a fun nib to use now. So thanks, Dan. I enjoy the stub you did. Okay, so there you have it. Those are the parts of the pen. What do I like about it? What do I not like about it? Well, when I first got the pen, it was a little smaller than I expected it to be. And clearly, it's called the Mini, so I couldn't expect a large pen. But I was thinking I would get a pen that had a sort of 540 diameter. And I think it's a little smaller. But that's okay. I love the feature of the posting. I already talked about that you can screw the cap in place. The small size makes the pen very portable. Put this in a shirt pocket, it won't stick out. You know, it's a fantastic size for that. Being TWSBI, you know what you get. You get a very decent quality pen for a very decent price, I think. It's a piston filler, so you get a small pen that holds a lot of ink, way more than many other pens. If you compare this to a Kaweco Sport, that's not a whole lot smaller, but usually that only takes standard international cartridges, which hold a lot less ink than this ink reservoir. I can tell you that. Okay, so what do I not like about it? Well, not a whole lot. I think it's pleasant to use. The posting is fine. It works well. The threads are really good. You don't sort of screw in the cap at an angle and then have to unscrew it again and try again. It does happen. The nib is fine. I would say that the nib is a little dry. Now, I've only used it with one ink so far, but my experience with the VAC 700 was that was a little dry, so I may have to make this a little wetter. Now, this is easy to do. It's not very complicated. You can do it yourself, and maybe it's just this ink, so I'm not even sure whether this is an issue. Apart from that, I really like the pen. I think it's a brilliant invention, nice, small, portable. I love it. So, that's all that's to it. I think we should now do writing sample. So that's what we'll do next. I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Alright. The TWSBI Mini, aka the TWSBI. It's easier to pronounce in one go. The nib is broad, but it's danified into a stub. And the ink is Private Reserve Tanzanite. What's going on here? Tanzanite? What? No. Sorry. Tanzanite. There we go. Okay. Let's do a bit of writing. Writing is smooth, nothing wrong there. Being a stub, it feels a little bit differently from a completely rounded nib. There's nothing wrong with that, it's just inherent to the properties of a stub nib. Okay, maybe do a bit of fast writing. The TWSBI nibs have never really struck me as being excessively wet. You see there are a few skips here and there, but in general I would say the feed keeps up pretty well with the writing. And of course, this being a piston filler, if it's absolutely necessary for you to write a little bit more wetly, you can always unscrew the piston just a little bit to try and get some ink into the channel. I'm not sure whether you can see what's going on there, but there we go. Now I overdid it a little bit, and of course you would want to do that in your business papers, but the difference, I think, is marked. Now, note that this is, of course, let me just get rid of that stuff here. There we go. This is Tanzanite. It's only one ink I've used in this pen yet, but Tanzanite is known to have pretty good flow, so it's not an excessively dry ink or anything. Okay, what about line variation? Well, this being a stub, now, it has a natural amount of line variation, which is quite apparent in many ways. When it comes to actually adding pressure, that's what I was trying to do there, but you can see that you can really squeeze out some line variation. Now, don't expect an extremely springy nib here. I think a lot of this line variation is actually due to the fact that Dan stubbed it. So it's just the stub nib property that will just do this. Okay, then finally, wetness. Note how I just put some extra ink in the feed a short while ago. But this gives you a fairly nice wet writing experience, I would say. But again, there was some ink that was just squirted into the feed. Usually it's a bit drier, so just so you know. And that's really all there's to it. So I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.